highest budget year, you will now be allowed to pass it. You can adjust it down.
Correct. And also the reason why it's this month instead of next month is next month's meeting and we are 30 days apart. We need 30 days to review it. So we're doing it a month early.
Jeff put together a form we'd like you to have tonight, something for you to look at, consider, some things to think about, some talking points. I'm going to let Jeff run through the top half of this, and then Jeff, I'll take the boxes at the bottom if that's okay.
Okay.
Is this form still to do with this first?
Yeah, this has to do with that item.
As Mr. Buxby explained, the proposed final budget will be available for public inspection. You get to do it 20 days before you would pass the final budget, which would be June 16th, which would be the last meeting in June. So this is the very last box actually on the sheet. You can work in the middle.
Okay.
And then public notice, you have to give notice 10 days prior to you passing the budget. So we're working backwards. June 16th being the date that we actually approve the budget. June 4th would be the last, that's Friday. Actually, it would be a Saturday or Sunday notice, but we'll do it on Friday or no later than Friday to give our 10-day notice. And then 20 days before would be May 27th. That's when the proposed final budget will actually be available for public inspection. So what that gives us, May study session and the May regular meeting to still work on the budget. And Rick has been meeting aggressively with Alan and I this week, trying to get some analysis and some long-term vision going for the future of the district. And 6 days just isn't long enough for that. And so hopefully once we do some more data collection analysis and long-term focus, that we will have a more concrete where we're going to be in May and present at that time. And hopefully the deficit of $278,257 will be reduced at that time. Let me jump up to the top, explain these things. This is basically just a summary of the 5-year projection that you received at the February meeting. No, I'm sorry, the March meeting. Excuse me. And the first set of boxes, you can see at the bottom, the percent increase is 3.77%. That is the index that we cannot exceed is 3.8%. So that would be the max that we could raise taxes, and that's what the proposed final is at right now. And it's projected to use the fund balance, so basically a deficit balance of 278,257. The 5-year projection, based on the assumptions in that projection, would leave us at the end of the 5-year period with an annual operating deficit of about 1.8 million, the 1,793,932. And the increases across 2.11, 3.35, 4.61, 4.61, 4.59. Those are all assumptions of what the resolution not to exceed the index, what the cap would be by Act 1 of 2006. The reason, as I explained in the previous month, the 2.11, the two factors that make up that index cap, one of those numbers is trending negative right now, which I don't think the legislative body anticipated, and the other half of that is trending very low. So that 2.11 could be anywhere from 1% to maybe 2.5% at the most for our district. So it'll be a tough year. We'll probably have to do an early budget process, as I explained before, and do our preliminary budget, not pass the resolution to not exceed the index, but actually work on the budget. Probably as soon as we get this one passed, start working again in July to be ready for a November 1st viewing, and then pass a tentative budget probably at the December meeting. So we're going to be on an accelerated process like a lot of other districts have been doing. We're going to be there. We'll see where we end up with that. Next block down is a suggestion of raising taxes instead of a 0.5 mil, but doing a 0.37 mil, and that would be a 2.79%. The next one is a 1.81%, and the bottom section is basically let's do nothing, not raise any taxes, and the concern is the 5-year impact. What will happen in year 15, 16 when we don't do a tax increase now? The next section, now this is extremely preliminary because we don't really know what the healthcare reform law, how it's going to impact. And I mean, the ink is still wet, but basically 3.7 on the very top and 3.7 on the top of this one, I'm estimating about a $600,000 increase in year 13, 14, just for healthcare alone, just for penalties. If we continue to not offer healthcare for some of our part-time salary support, 180-day employees, if they meet the terms of the law, we get penalized for our entire 330 employees. So that penalty would 600,000. We haven't offered healthcare, we just get penalized 600,000. They have to go to a subsidized healthcare plan. But that's all, we don't know yet. That's the ink that is still got to be processed through. Hopefully, I'll have some information from our insurance broker on how that it will impact us directly as we get closer to 2013, 14. So that, it's bad. That's the pension on the top. That's really bad because that's now healthcare reform. So that's just it. We'll probably be looking at exceptions to indexes, but wanted to make sure that you saw where we're heading. And we're not alone. I mean, every district, every corporation, well, every company now is going to deal with healthcare reform. But every district has to deal with the pension issue. And the pension projection in this 5-year projection is what the governor has proposed. So it's not law. It's just what's proposed. House has approved it. The Senate has not. The Senate, it sounds like they're going to dig their heels in again. So who knows where we're going to end up. So maybe by May, we will have a little idea of where the House and the Senate are merging to. Probably not. But it is an election year, so they have to accelerate their process because they have to get on the campaign trail. They can't be stuck in Harrisburg fighting over a budget bill. They actually have to get their work done so they can go campaign. So hopefully we'll have an answer sooner than later.
Where would we look, it's in our budget book, what the actual dollar liability is for the thing, rather than percents and so on? Just how much would we owe if we were paying the bill?
I'll let Alan run with that one.
For the insurance?
For the retirement?
Retirement. That's not on there yet. In other words,
Oh, you mean a taxpayer?
No,
The total.
the district, what's our liability
Our total
over the
liability?
years? Over these next 6 years as you have projected here? Just in dollars and cents, where would I look to find out what our district is gonna owe for retirement?
The CommonwealthFoundation.org, we got a think tank in Harrisburg, had a very good data analysis by district of what that would cost. CommonwealthFoundation.org.
All right, Jeff, that illustrates what would happen if all of our employees retired at the end of a given year. Is that the composite of that full total? I'm not understanding.
No, this is the employer contribution for the state retirement system.
Percent?
It's that percent.
Okay.
Historically, the percent's been anywhere from 4 to 7%. And the impact under the current PSERS law in 12-13, that will be 29% of it.
Okay.
So that, but the governor has proposed, PSERS law right now says let's go to 8.22%. The government proposal says, no, let's hold it out, let's go 5.74%. And the reason being, the state matches that almost 50%. The state can't afford that type of hit either. So that, and then his plan is to increase it by no more than 3%. So it would be 5.74, 8.74, 11.74, until it gets up to 30%, and then it would be at 30% for probably, I think it's 20, 25 years. So I mean, you're not gonna, basically he's taking a long-term debt and amortizing it. Instead of over 20 years, we're gonna pay it over 40.
now, I asked Jeff to give me some other numbers. I think sometimes we talk about these percents, and it's helpful to get them back to real numbers. It may be helpful for you in talking to your neighbors or friends. So let me look at the middle blocks with you first. All right, total increase in the past 5 years on a median house has been $74, 1% per year. That's not a year. That's the total increase over the last 5 years on a person's taxes. It comes out to about $14.80 a year, or $1.25 a month. So people say, boy, my taxes have gone up a lot. Their taxes have gone up $1.25 per month over the last 5 years. We were